All right, y'all, hold up. Rick Ross is out here threatening to drop yet another album, and honestly, we need to talk about this. Listen, don't get me wrong, I'm genuinely glad Rose is still in the studio cooking because the culture needs that energy. The new project is reportedly called Set in Stone, which sounds cold on paper, but remember when he told everybody that Port of Miami 2 was basically his swan song, his grand farewell to the game? But here's the thing. Minx in Miami is actually knocking right now, and I'll give credit where it's due because that record sounds like the Rick Ross we actually want. That's him getting back into his bag, back to that larger-than-life boss rap that put him on the map in the first place. But Port of Miami 2? Yeah, I'm just gonna say what a lot of people were thinking. That album was underwhelming, and that's me being generous. I honestly believed after that project dropped that we had seen the final chapter, that Ross had closed the book. Now I'm sitting here trying to remember what his most recent album even was before this announcement, because the rollouts have been blurring together at this point. Let me pull that up real quick, because I want to make sure I'm giving y'all accurate information before I go any further. Because Ross actually sat down and spoke on dropping this new album. I believe this was his conversation with B. Dot, but he also went on Instagram and...
Conversations. This album, the title of my upcoming album is Set in Stone. Set in stone. As I stand here right now, I'm in a home that's worth over $100 million. It's set in stone. Huge play.
Probably not. And even after throwing money into renovations, you're looking at maybe 50, 60 million if the market even holds up the way he's expecting it to. But hey, 250 million in 3 years sounds great on a PowerPoint slide, right? Now back to the music. Ross is out here telling his real fans to hold him to the absolute highest standard he has ever been held to when it comes to this new project. The wordplay, the topics, the subject matter, the production, the collaborations, he's putting all of that on the table as a promise. Hold me to the highest standards. That's a bold statement to make publicly, and we're going to remember he said that. Set in stone. Boss. That's the energy he's bringing into this conversations era. But listen, let me pull up the receipts real quick, because the last notable singles we've actually seen from Rick Ross tell a very different story. He dropped one called Is This It for the Money? And while it was a solid record, 3 million streams in today's landscape, that's not moving the needle like that anymore. The game has changed. He also got involved writing for Nino Breeze, which shows he's still creative behind the scenes, but people aren't exactly rushing to hit play on new Ross records right now, and that's just the hard truth. Champagne Moments did 11 million, but let's be honest, that only popped because of the Drake beef momentum carrying it. Then you've got Splash Brothers sitting at 52,000 streams with French Montana, which, come on, that cannot be the reality. His last actual album dropped as a joint project with Meek Mill. And honestly, that joint Meek and Ross album was actually solid. I'm not gonna front on that one. Shaq and Kobe was a genuinely hard record too. That's the Ross we want to hear more of. But anyway, that's where things stand with him, so let's keep it moving to the next story. Now listen, Academics is out here claiming he's personally going to cover Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg's final checks that Hot 97 allegedly owes them, but only if they all agree to stop bringing up him and Drake, because at this point he says it's just getting embarrassing, and honestly, that's kind of hilarious when you think about it. Then you've got the game stepping up and breaking down exactly why hip-hop genuinely needs Drake. And look, I already know y'all are going to come for me in the comments, but I actually agree with what he's saying. It's not about riding coattails, it's just the reality that Drake has put on an enormous number of artists, and currently nobody else is stepping up to lead the charge the way he has. Kendrick is top-tier talent, without question, but hip-hop needs more people willing to carry that flag and pull others up with them. That's just facts. Now hold up, because the Toronto Fire Department actually came through with hot water and melted down what was left of Drake's Iceman structure due to safety concerns. And I told y'all from the beginning that thing was a liability waiting to happen. Drake is now footing the bill for all of that cleanup. And while the whole rollout was creative and exciting on paper, let's be real about something. If Drake's team hadn't specifically orchestrated streamers and content creators to go interact with that ice block, absolutely nobody would have organically shown up for it. Every single person climbing on that ice and attempting to melt it was a streamer. They were all coordinated, all part of the plan. And that moment where the guy discovered the hidden pouch, yeah, that was almost certainly staged with a string planted underneath, and he was probably given a script to go straight to Drake's house for the big reveal. You want to know the moment I knew without a doubt this whole thing was orchestrated? MD the Motivator pulled up. You know exactly who that is, and he started giving away a car right there on the spot.
And yes, Drake actually gave away a real car. Whoever found the key that MD the Motivator buried inside that ice block walked away with the actual vehicle, and somebody really did claim it. Now, they didn't technically have to put a real key in there, but they committed to the bit and made it genuine, which is why it landed the way it did. Drake hopped in the comments, calling the album Infinite and shouting out MD as the GOAT. And look, staged or not, this whole rollout was executed perfectly and brought a massive wave of attention right before the drop. The album is coming in roughly 3.5 weeks. We're talking around May 15th, so we are almost at the finish line, and it better deliver because the buildup has been enormous. But hold up, look who popped up in the comments section, J. Prince Jr. himself. And brother, you have got to think about the heat you're drawing towards your family by inserting yourself into these conversations publicly. I wish I had saved what somebody replied under that comment because I know it was something, but we'll circle back to that. Now listen, Anthony Fantano actually came out and admitted that he deliberately spread false information claiming Iceman was dropping within 36 hours as some kind of social experiment to see how fast rap blogs would run with it. And you know what? I think that explanation is just Fantano saving face after getting caught, because academics already said he was fed that same information as a planted lie. So somebody is not being fully straight here. Fantano even pulled out fake text screenshots trying to prove he planned it all along. But come on now, anybody can manufacture a text conversation. He said he was going to announce Iceman dropping every single weekend until it actually came out just to see how many pages would post it without verifying. And honestly, that tells you everything about how these blogs operate. All right, moving on. Jim Jones ran out of gas and Fabulous out here saying never slow down, but sometimes you're moving too fast. Don't let that fly over your head because that's actually a cold bar when you think about it. But yeah, the real headline here is that Jim Jones ran out of gas and had to walk 2 full miles to find a gas station. And bro, you are telling me a man of that stature does not have roadside assistance set up on his vehicle? If he's driving a Cadillac like I think he is, that service comes standard. All you have to do is press one button and they pull up, fill your tank, and you never have to leave your seat. Post Malone is out here teasing a possible return to rap on his next project, which is actually interesting because that lane still has his fingerprints all over it. Now, Ace Hud went and got himself an iced-out Hood Nation chain from Volver. And listen, I respect the hustle, but somebody needs to pull Ace Hood aside and have a real conversation with him about financial priorities. His independent releases do decent numbers. He's built a loyal following and he still has a respectable monthly listener count off the strength of his catalog. But bro, save the cash. Chains can wait. Now this next one is wild. Davion Murphy, one of the suspects in Julio's murder case, was actually caught on camera in an interrogation room taunting Julio and taking full credit for the shooting like it was something to be proud of. And now here he is in court looking completely lost. And at this point, the only question is why he didn't just take the plea deal when he had the chance. Then you've got someone from Fuji's team coming out claiming that Gucci Mane never sent a single dollar to support Fuji while he was locked up. And because of that, Fuji is done with him. That's a serious loyalty violation, because when somebody's behind those walls, even a small gesture goes an incredibly long way. Gucci, you're fumbling that one bad.